Eliza, I just got a hot mom alert, and she says you look great.
Thank you. My mom would be like, what are those catfish tentacle things you got?
Moms always hate on the little bang look, but I personally love it. And we love your sketch show. And I would love to hear, how has it been not getting to get dressed up and play with your characters right now?
It's like normal life.
True.
But you know, it is an arduous thing, like shooting every day. It was a really tight schedule. And like that Cashew Albacore guy, like he took 3 hours in makeup, 3 hours in hair. It was the hardest. I don't mean to sound privileged. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life.
Was it, how hot was it too? Because I mean, that's like a big ass suit.
It was hot. Like when you create these characters, you don't think about like, oh, I'm going to have to execute this. So it's Brooklyn in the summer and it's 2 fat suits, a sweater, a leather vest. I think he had a coat that we got rid of. And then the thing that makes you hot is you're wearing a latex ball cap so your heat can't escape from the top of your head.
That sounds like torture.
It's between, I had to like lay on the ground and put ice packs on me.
Holy
so
shit.
Did you do it all at once since you were already dressed up? Did you try to do it like all together? Or?
He had 2 sketches and we had to do it 2 different days. So we had to take it off, put it back on for another day. But life could be a lot worse.
Yeah. One of the characters I loved was you were Nicole Kidman's stunt woman, and you're so good at accents. So I was just kind of wondering, do you have a dialect coach that you work with, or do you just like go all in and you kind of practice it on your own and there it is?
I think there are 2 types of funny girls. There are the funny girls that are like, I'm funny, and then there are the funny girls that are like, oh yeah, accents are my thing. Like Kate McKinnon's like an accent girl, you know?
Yeah,
like, everybody's got that friend that like loves to do a British accent and you're like, okay, we get it. And so somebody wrote Kip Wazzle and brought it in. I was like, oh, I can do an Australian accent. And so I just kept working on it. So I have an ear for it, but I didn't get a coach because also part of the fun is like, maybe if it's not totally perfect, but I had an Australian friend listen to me do it to make sure I had it at least passable.
Oh, it was so good.
Like embarrassed trying it in front of them. I'm like, when I try a new accent and I lose it halfway through, I'm like, I get embarrassed.
It's you know, you're putting yourself out there. It's like singing, you know, and like halfway through the song, you're like, oh, is this not good? You know, you've got to like commit to it. But I got the go ahead from another Australian that it was decent, that it wasn't offensive.
And that's all you need in this world, you know,
is to not offend other white people. Yeah.
That's hard to do.
It really
is hard to do. Well, we've loved digging into the book. So we've all read it, and we've had a lot of fun conversations around our girl logic and how it's influenced and impacted decisions we've made and haven't made. And so just curious, I know that how your girl logic has evolved. A lot's changed since you wrote the book in your life. And so, I mean, we're all curious. There may be a Girl Logic 2.0 coming out sometime, or just kind of like where all that sets with you now.
Probably not a Girl Logic 2.0. I definitely had an idea for another book. Unfortunately, the world is like very on pause.
Yeah.
But you know, it was kind of like, I was having this thought today during my workout, which is like so woo-woo, but I was like, you know, you move through these lessons and these times in your life where you're evaluating, you know, your mid-20s to your late 20s to early 30s. And that's a very specific time that's super relatable. And we all get that. And then as you kind of move out of that, it's like, oh, I can't stay there. I can't stay doing those observations. And the objective, you know, of course, as an artist is to always grow. You don't want to be the woman who at 37, 40, whatever, is still doing the same, looking at things through the same lens. So I think it's part of it's getting older, a big part of it's getting older, part of it's getting married. You know, you're just the girl logic and all, like you kind of settle down a little bit. And I'm not a chill person. And like, I still get like super angry and upset, but it's kind of like certain things matter less, certain things matter more. So it's just a whole new world at this point that I'm just like dipping my toe into.
Yeah. You talk a lot about like your friendships and what impact that had on you with other women. And I was wondering, so you've been married for 2 years now, is that right?
Yeah.
You just had an anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Happy no longer newlyweds. You're in good company. Paul and Danielle are both married for 2 years as well.
Oh, mazel tov.
I was wondering, like about your couple friends? Like, is that easy for you guys? Like when you're like, did you have to like meet new couple friends, or do you like?
Okay, wait. Before you keep going, I don't know. Like I could have chatted to you. You have lipstick on your teeth, and I didn't want to like call you out, but I was like, someone should tell.
That's very kind.
Oh,
of
we didn't see it. We totally
I think
let you down.
Yes, we let you down. Oh my God, man.
That's what good
Damn,
girlfriends
Mandy.
are for.
What kind of
No,
friends
no,
are
Mandy.
you?
They saw it.
They,
Thank
no,
you.
they didn't. These are some down ass bitches. They would never let me. if they-
It looked the longest time I was staring, and it looked just like it was pixelated. And then I was like, in case you take pictures
Are
later.
we okay now?
There you go.
We're good. That mouth looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Way there's such an art, like especially on like something like this where like people are watching. If we were in person, I'd pull you to the side. But like when this all started, there's like this way that women like say that they're bonding with you, but also call you out. Like I remember I had fake nails for the first time ever, and of course we're in a quarantine, you can't get them. So I just had these like weird something things, and I kind of tried to like cover it because it was like at the beginning of this when we weren't sure. And this girl was like, "Nice try, girlfriend. We all have fake nail situation. Don't worry about it." I'm like, "Oh, you're kind of a bitch for calling it like that." Like,
Those
oh, that's not
backhanded
nice.
compliments.
Wait, how did you get them off? Because there was like no acid.
You know what?
I
Yeah.
pulled. After weeks of them growing, I just kind of pried them off and they just popped off.
Oh my god,
No.
it took like
Oh
6 months
boy.
for them to recover. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
That's what you could have told her. You know what? These nails still scratch. I get
I
back.
should have, as a celebrity, I should have made a verbal threat in writing
Yes.
and verbally,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
then hold up in court.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Sorry, Mandy.
Yeah. I was wondering you're about like your couple friends. Like, did you guys meet new couple friends, or like was it like his friends, and then like does everybody like both parties in the couple? What's that
No,
like?
it's not. We also live in LA, so it's, and we don't have kids. So that's like usually a glue that like bonds couples together, like, oh, their kids are friends.
Yeah.
I came into this relationship with a bunch of friends. His friend, it's interesting. My friends all became his friends, but his friends are like just dudes who like basketball and talking about restaurants. And so while they're lovely, like we're not hanging out like just them and me.
Yeah.
But he was very, you know, and I keep like a small group and stuff like that, but we have big parties. But like we have a friend over right now who got his test and he's negative, and we already had corona, so we're fine.
You had
Oh.
corona?
I did.
Oh no.
No, I'm fine.
Oh God.
You didn't have it.
There's like no way to drop it. Anyways, so you, and it's weird because like it's like dating, like you like try out couples, but like the worst thing is, look, if you're gonna be a couple and be friends with a couple, chances are one of those people is gonna suck.
Yeah.
Either the wife is boring, or or you're friends with the wife and the husband's like kind of an idiot, and you're like, what am I doing? So we do it based on people, not on couples. That being
That's how
said,
you should do it. That's valid.
if you want to end up 50 as swingers, we got to start meeting all those.
Start now.
Start now.
Do you think you guys will always be in LA? Do you ever see yourself coming back to Texas or to New York?
I think Dallas. When I see Danielle, are you from Dallas?
I am not from Dallas, but I'm just channeling my inner Dallas, paying homage to your hometown tonight. So
Okay.
the answer is
Danielle.
but I don't know if it's sad to say I did have all of this in my closet. So I don't, just whenever I start barrel racing, I'll be ready. I don't know. But
No, it's not bad. I'm gonna stop eating like a monster. I think Dallas, Austin, Texas, because I grew up there. I'm like, I can see how you raise a family there. During this corona, we started Googling like, in your highest of hopes, like where else would you live? Like we like the West Coast. You can't leave LA if you work in entertainment without being really successful already. You just can't. Like there's that scene in Sideways where Thomas Hayden Church meets oh Jesus, what's her name? She's in Killing Eve.
Sandra
Sandra
Oh.
Oh.
And he falls in love, and he's
Yeah.
like, yeah. And they're up in like Los Olivos, and he's like, if there's an audition in LA, I'll pop back down. And it's like hours. Like you make yourself think like, oh, I'll just go back. You need to be like Jon Stewart did his thing, and now he lives on a farm. So you need to lay like some serious groundwork. Otherwise, you'll just be completely out of the loop. So we might move a little bit out of LA, but I guess that's the answer. That's like a really interesting answer.
Yeah, I was wondering about like if your girl logic was talking to you about like you did mention that you're like when I'm a grandma one day, but like is your girl logic like
Well, there's that. Because you're like, if I leave, then I'll be out of the game. And so I have to stay here and work hard. But what if I never get what I want? Then like, and so there's the, like, do you make yourself happy now or do you do some planning for the future? So you are kind of always balancing like what will satisfy me now, but what also sets me up for success in the future.
Yeah.
So maybe we do like a little hybrid and move just somewhere different within LA that's more remote.
We moved from Studio City to Austin like 2 years ago, and we have friends that are in the entertainment industry that go back and forth. But I did have a friend that just moved back. She's watching right now. She knows who she is, but she moved back to LA. That's right. And she was like, "I'm out of here," because they have kids. You know, when you're like you were saying, when you've got kids, it's a little different.
I mean, you can be a film producer, you can be a writer, but like if you want an audition with feedback, you need to be in the city. If you want to take a general meeting that's not on a Zoom, you need to be in the city. Like there's something to be said for that, like tactile.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I've from reading your book, Eliza, like you hustle, your work ethic is, I'm like, and you talk a little about it in the book. It's just so respectable. Like everyone knows, like you have to make sacrifices and you have to, make major changes. But I don't really think people really understand to what degree that is for someone to accomplish what you've accomplished. So I just like hats off to you. I mean, you talk a little bit about in the book and on some interviews where early on where you're like, I had to give up friends and relationships and I had to make a choice, like, this is what I'm going to do. And you're like all chips in. And I just think that is very, commendable for you to do that. And we all kind of took note of that after reading the book. It's like, it just doesn't happen. You're working your ass off and you're hustling. And I'm curious if you're talking about maybe, this marriage and moving a little bit out. Did you still feel like, man, I am still grinding and hustling? Like it's still taking that?
Yeah, I think
as it did.
I think it's like different levels of hustling. Like it never, even if you're like at Leonardo DiCaprio's level, like there's still all the BS of making a movie. And like, it's always interesting when I talk to people who are more successful than me and they tell me like, yeah, we had the movie ready to go and day one we didn't shoot. So you're kind of reminded like, oh, the universe isn't out to get you. It is difficult. Of course it gets a little bit easier, the more things that you do, but just on the note of like giving up friends and giving up stuff, it wasn't, when you're so passionate about something, it's kind of like, this is what I want to do. And if you love me, you're on board. So I had friends that just went their own way, people I didn't have time for. And it was never like this hard line. It was just kind of like, I'm making the decision that I'm going to go do this gig instead of go to your wedding or instead of attend your birthday. And you wouldn't call it selfish if it was a guy doing it. You'd be like, oh, he can't make it, and it's about kind of like, and the conversation about feminism wasn't one that was in the ether as much as it is now when I was coming up.
Right.
I kind of just went, to like quote Thoreau, in the direction of my dreams and went forward because no one really said I couldn't, but no one really said I could either. I was kind of like, I'm going, and people were like, okay. And so,
me.
yeah. So, but it is a grind, and it is like, I mean, even with this Corona thing, like Madonna's a great example, just like reinventing yourself, pivoting, leaning into things, knowing that no one's going to make those calls for you. Even when you think your agent is doing something, sometimes they're not. And being that girl, like being that squeaky wheel, but without being annoying about it. And just constantly, I keep notepads of just stuff that I'm always going through. Like, did I send in this draft? Did I send in this outline? Did we make this phone call? Okay, who got the draft? Who got the outline? Just that way, when it doesn't work out, which it won't, you have something else to be excited about, because nothing works out. No one does anything.
What are you excited about? What have you got coming up that you're excited for?
So I have a show that we've taken some really great meetings with some pretty good people, put it that way, about, and it's a half-hour cable streaming show because I went through this last round of network development. I do it every year. I write a pilot for a network. And this year I was just like, you know what? If I'm going to fail again, I want it to at least be a show that like I'm bleeding for. So I have that, and we've got really cool people that are involved. So I'm excited about getting that going, as well as these I filmed a movie recently. And so we're just putting the like finishing touches on it. So I'm excited for people to see that. And I'm excited for this movie that I'm writing now. And then I shot a movie called Pieces of a Woman with Shia LaBeouf and Ellen Burstyn, and Benny Safdie was in it. And in the movie. Hold on. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, it went out for like a half second, but we're good.
Oh, my AirPods. So I'm excited for that to come out, and because my publicist is here, I can be like, Greg, what am I excited about? But he's outside.
Hi, Greg.
And to like get back on the road and put out that 6th hour. So I'm excited to have my dog.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're able to keep like, your creativity up in quarantine? Have you been busy? Have you been like relaxing more?
I think everybody is so scared that they're gonna, no squeaking. She can't squeak.
Oh my God, can we see her quick?
Yes. Hey babe, will you hand me the dog?
Yeah, let's see her.
Will you hand me I think it was funny. I've been saying at the beginning of this quarantine, there were like a lot of articles written sort of mostly to women being like, you don't have to be productive. You don't have to write the next great novel. And it's true. Like we're in this, will you pick her up? I can't. Oh, I'm like picking her with my feet. We're in this like period of mourning in a weird way, going through all of this, but I'm not a happy person if I'm not a productive person. So I definitely had my days of like listless wandering through my house, but I like the idea of being ready for when this opens up and like having things ready and like having done that work, especially when everyone else slowed down. Because don't ever think that anybody else is slowing down. They're telling you they are because they want you to feel good, but like they're working. Yeah.
Hustling, yes. Yeah.
It's an aggressive way to live, but that is the way I live.
No, we're with you. We just started this in quarantine because we couldn't perform, live together doing.
And you already got Chelsea Handler.
We did.
We got you.
We got you.
I did this because I saw you got her, and I was like, "Who are these girls?"
We're trying to get our hustle going. We're like
hustling.
Super impressive, super commendable, but like that's all it takes is like, and like a name like that makes other people, I'm not as famous as her, like want to do like you got a big fish, and like that's a really big accomplishment. To get somebody to take time out of their day, sit down, talk about something, even though as entertainers, we love talking about ourselves, it's hard to get people to do anything.
Oh my, people freaked out when we said we were having you though.
Yeah,
People
it was
freaked out.
We had a lot of people. They're like, what?
Okay. I got you. Hold on a second.
I think it's like the first.
We got a pup sighting. I can feel it. Yes.
Oh,
She has lipstick on her teeth though. Can you just
This is Tianfu and
Hi, Tianfu.
Jane.
Hi.
She's boneless. And
Okay, so you adopted your dog from China when you went on a visit, correct? Did I read that correctly?
no, that is that's not true.
Uh-huh.
She is from China. She's adopted from China, but I got her here.
Okay.
Went to the store and there's a Chinese lady there with dogs in a car.
Gotcha. I wasn't sure on her adoption story. I was like, ooh, I'm interested.
there were dogs in a
It's all
car?
pre-workout. Don't at me, folks.
How is she really boneless? It's like when you take a pencil
She's so
and go like
cute.
that. Or
Exactly.
Little baby.
Like I'm refusing to look at the camera. I'm camera shy.
Yeah, she's very preoccupied. We think she's got like a learning disorder.
Eliza, I have a question about your physicality on stage. You are very physical when you perform. And in your latest stand-up special, which is on Netflix, you crab walk in what looks like 6-inch heels. And so I wanted to know if you are actually practicing that in heels prior to, or is it just like, bam, we're going to crab walk?
Bam, we're going to crab walk. That's very funny. The only time I consider, no, the answer is no. All my shows are in sneakers. For a little bit, I'd wear like cute little black boots. And then I was like, my back hurts. I'm done. So I like custom ordered a pair of like Nike, like skater sneakers. They make my foot look like a toddler's foot. And then, yeah, those heels, when you go to when I went to the stylist, to Tara, to figure out the outfit, she has all these boots lined up, and there are boots that went with the outfit so much better that were beautiful, but like you need something, like I'm not a chunky heel fan, but like you need you need something that's going to hold up that. Also, you can't really see the shoes, and I'm thankful for that, because like sometimes they're not the cutest, because you want the height and you want to appear tall and lean, but you need something that's going to support you. So I definitely, in the dressing room when I was trying on different outfits, tried doing that to see if it was but just there. And then the adrenaline is going, it's pumping through you. So you could pull a Mack truck with your teeth. Like,
no problem.
yeah.
Well, you just made it look so easy in the special tour. I was like, how is she doing this? Because like normally like on heels, I'm like a newborn deer where it's like, but you're just like, kra, 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 kra.
Yeah. And I'm not a heels person, but it's that thing too, where you're like, the camera's on, like, don't fuck it up. Like, just do it. Get done. I mean, I mean, at least I don't, some comics stand still. I'm like, I feel like a gymnast at the end of it. Like I finished the routine. I'm dripping sweat, in this case, blood, and just, you're just uncomfortable. There's concealer everywhere. It's just like, oh, they're off.